Hello and welcome to Reformer class. I'm Bridget. I hope you enjoy this workout. This is going to be a level 2 55-minute full body Pilates reformer class. We're going to get started with a little bit of footwork to get you guys moving, get the blood flowing. I like to do footwork with my headrest up, and personally I like 2 reds, a green, and a yellow spring. This can be done on whatever springs that you prefer, but a medium to heavy weight to get you moving. So let's go ahead, let's lay it all the way down on your back and get you started. Once I lay all the way down on my machine, it's incredibly important to line up your shoulders and line up your hips. You don't want to be doing your footwork skewed to one side. Once I get that lined up, I'm going to put my toes on and kiss my heels together. I'm going to bring my pelvis into a neutral position, which means I drop my tailbone down, creating that natural lumbar curve in the spine. And on my next inhale, push the machine all the way out to straight legs. Hold out there for a quick moment. You're gonna pop your head up, look at your feet. I've got to adjust mine a little bit because they're a little off on my foot bar. My toes are on, my heels are kissed together. And on my next exhale, I'm gonna bend my knees, pull the machine in towards the stopper, and inhale, press all the way back out there, 7. Exhale, resist, pull the machine in towards the stopper. Inhale, elongating out for 6. Keeping that pelvis in neutral, you're going to be tempted to tuck as you pull the machine in. Keep that tailbone heavy. Lengthening out, there's 5. Bending in. Inhale, pressing all the way out for 4. Engaging the pelvic floor on the apex of the move. Exhale, resist. Inhale, press for 3. Exhale. Inhale, elongating out, pushing from my under butt and inner thighs for 2. Bending in, last full range of motion in that small Pilates V. Press to hold. From here, bring the machine about halfway in and pause. Really squeeze those heels together. You're going to lower the machine down an inch and press back up an inch. Take the bounce out of the movement and think under butt and pelvic floor. And let's take this for 6. Pulse 5. There's 4. Pulse for 3, 2. Press all the way out to straight legs and pause. Separate the heels so your feet are parallel and drop those heels underneath the foot bar to get a nice calf stretch in. From here, to increase the calf stretch on your left side, you're going to bend your right knee and give me 3 deep breaths. Inhale. Exhale, breathe for 3. If you are hypermobile, be aware you need a softness to the knee right now. And breathe for 2. If you're not hypermobile, nice straight leg. Inhale, exhale, breathe, last 1. Go ahead, lift both heels up nice and high. Now I'm going to bend my left knee, letting my right heel lower underneath the foot bar. I have a softness to my knee because I'm hypermobile. And breathe for 4, 3, take 2. And go ahead and lift both heels up nice and high. We're going to get the calf work going. I pop my head up and I check out my feet just to make sure they're nicely lined up. And I'm going to lower both heels underneath the foot bar on an exhale and lift both heels up 8 times. Lowering down and lift. Inhale for 7. Exhale, pressing the heels down. Think about really rolling through the foot for 6 so you get some work through your feet as well as the calves. There's 5. Chest is proud, back the neck is long. Is your pelvis still in neutral for 4? Always double check. Breathe for 3. Do a little body scan. Make sure you're evenly pressing through the right and left feet for 2. Lift to hold. We're going to bend your knees, pull the machine in towards the stopper, nice parallel legs, and press all the way back out with parallel legs, reaching away. Pretend like your ankles, knees, and sit bones are on those nice railroad tracks, pulling the machine in. And inhale, lengthening out. 6 more. Bending in. Once again, under butt and pelvic floor as you fully extend for 6. Resisting in. Press away for 5. Think about where your heels are in space here. You want to keep them completely steady for 4. You don't want them lifting up and lowering down. That's why we call it footwork. We steady those feet for 3. Pulling the machine in towards the stopper. Pressing away for 2. Bending in. lengthening all the way out to hold. Once again, we're gonna go for a set of pulses. Bring the machine about halfway in, pause right there, get into the underbutt, the pelvic floor, and pulse it down for 8. Take the bounce out of the movement, 7. Pelvic floor, 6. 5. Take 4, 3, breathe 2, and go ahead, push the machine all the way out to straight legs to wash it out, pausing right there. Take your hands onto your pelvis. Without letting your pelvis move at all, bend one knee, push the opposite heel down for a little prancing. Inhale, lift, and exhale, press. Lift and lower. Inhale, lift, exhale, lowering the heel down. We have 4 more. Lift, press for 4. Lift and press for 3. Inhale, exhale, lower for 2. Lift, press, last 1. Go ahead, lift both heels up nice and high. Bend both knees, come all the way into the stopper. We're going for your pelvic curls next. So first things first, you've got to reach around and flip your headrest down flat. If you do this with your headrest up, you overextend your occiput, it's really not good for your neck. I also like to wiggle off the shoulder blocks just, a quarter of an inch or so I have a little space. You could do this on your toes, arches, or heels. Toes will be more challenging. If you're prone to cramping in your hamstrings, I highly recommend your heels. Let's take an inhale here, pushing your arms into the mat. On your exhale, let's tuck the pelvis. Roll your hips up towards the ceiling, 1 vertebrae at a time. As you come all the way up, get the sensation you reach your knees forward. You'll pull the movement deeper into the glutes. Back of the neck is long. Take an inhale at the top and exhale. Articulate your spine back down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Eventually your tailbone will come down. Take a sip of air at the bottom. Exhale once again. Tuck the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, roll your hips up, 1 vertebrae at a time. Our goal here is to really get into our glutes, a little bit of hamstrings, and try to stretch your hip flexors, the front of your hips. Once you get all the way up to the top, you inhale, hold, and exhale. Once again, replace 1 vertebra down at a time. Our goal here is articulation while we move. We come to that neutral pelvis, which we have a little space in our lumbar spine. And as we roll up, we're going to push our low back into the mat to start. Tuck the pelvis so you really scoop out those low abs and bring it all the way up. You inhale, hold the top, pressing your arms into the mat to help ground the movement. You get a little tricep work there. And roll those hips all the way back down. We have 3 more to go. Inhale. Exhale, take it up for 3. Peeling up and off. You inhale, hold the top. If you're on your toes, try to keep your heels low, especially at the apex, the top of the movement. And exhale, pulling the machine in towards the stopper as you roll it all the way back down. On this next one, can you focus on pulling your glutes towards your heels as you peel your vertebra off? Really try to connect the glutes and the heels. They'll never actually touch, but you just get deeper glute work that way. Inhale, holding, and exhale, rolling down. And we've got 1 more to go. On this next one, we're gonna roll up to the top and take a pause and do a little work. Inhale here, exhale, tuck the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, roll your hips all the way up, holding up there. If you're on your toes, keep those heels low. And then from here, you can take your hands onto your hips if you'd like to, but you're gonna lower your pelvis down just an inch. As you press your pelvis back up, you're gonna tuck your tail. Lowering down, tuck and press. There's 7. And pulse for 6. Hello glutes, 5. Keep those heels low, 4. Widen the collarbone for 3. Can you take it even deeper into the glutes for 2? And last one, roll your hips all the way down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Inhale, holding the bottom. Little sip of air. On the next one, we're going to do some single leg work. So if you're starting to cramp, I recommend being on your heels. Take that inhale, exhale, tuck the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, roll your hips all the way up, and hold at the top. From here, whenever I do single leg work, I like to bend my elbows and take my hands onto my hip bones. I'm not holding my pelvis there, I'm just double checking that it doesn't move or shift at all. Without letting it shift, I'm going to bring my right leg into tabletop, reach it straight up towards the ceiling. I'm going to flex my right foot on an inhale, Exhale, point the toe, 8. Flex and point for 7. My left heel is low, my left glute is talking for 6. Flex, point 5. My right quad is strong for 4. I'm only moving my right foot for 3. Take 2. Point the toe and hold, last one. Keep the right leg perfectly straight. With the pointed toe, you're gonna lower the right leg down over the foot bar. At the bottom, you're gonna flex the foot and exhale, push the heel up, 8. Point it down, flex it up for 7. Point and flex for 6. Reach, bringing it up, 5. Hello, left glute. Lengthening out and taking it up for 4. If you're getting a little bit of shake here, it's the tremors of truth. You know you're working hard for 3. Pointing down, taking it up, there's 2. Reach, bring the leg up, last one. Replace that right foot down onto the foot bar. Clean up your pelvic curl and roll down the spine. You might have to do a little wardrobe adjustment. Always have to fix my shirt, so I bring it all the way down. Tailbone comes down, you're gonna pause right there. Keep your right foot exactly where it is because we were working the left glute. You're gonna cross the left ankle to your right knee. We're gonna do a figure 4 stretch on this left side. I'm gonna push my left knee away. And I'm gonna take some nice deep breaths. Now there's many ways you can do this figure 4 stretch. I like to line up my bottom ribs and my bottom hip bones so that I know I'm even right to left, and then kind of stick my bum out a little bit, come to that nice neutral position. I get a beautiful stretch on my left hip. Some people like to take the shape and hug in, whatever works best for you. And then I push my left knee away a little bit. I increase the stretch, but in a really lovely way. And let's take 3 more deep breaths right here. Inhale, exhale, breathe for 3. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling for 2. And last breath right here. We've got to do the other glute before we get to stretch it out. So let's replace that left foot back down onto the foot bar. Your headrest is still down. Line up your shoulders, line up your hips. Toes, arches, or heels on, whatever you did on the opposite side. Take an inhale here. 1 pelvic curl to hold. Tuck the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, roll your hips all the way up towards the ceiling, and pause. Once again, I like to bend at my elbows. I'm not holding my pelvis in place, I'm just making sure that it's not moving. My right leg stays exactly where it is. I bring my left leg into tabletop. I extend it straight up towards the ceiling. I'm gonna flex my left foot, pulling my toes back towards me, and exhale, point that toe for 8. Flex, point 7. Flex and reach for 6. Pulling the toes back. Exhale, reach 5. Take it for 4. Whew. Breathe for 3. Take 2. And point the toe. Keep the toe pointed. Lower the leg down over the foot bar. When you get to the bottom, flex the foot and push the heel up. 8. Reaching down. Once again, pelvis should be nice and square for 7. Right glute should be really working there. 6. Inhaling down, exhale, flexing up for 5. Is your right heel low if you're on your toes for 4? Lengthening out, bonus points if you engage your pelvic floor as you bring the leg up for 3. Length, and take 2. Reach, bringing it up, last one. Replace that foot down, clean up your pelvic curl, adjust your wardrobe if need be, and roll down the spine. And we get to stretch out that right hip. So keep your left leg exactly where it is, cross the right ankle to your left knee, press that right knee away, make sure the distance between your ribs and the hips are the same, hug the shape in, do what you need to do, and let's go ahead and take 3 deep breaths right here. Breathe for 3. Inhaling, exhale, breathe, there's 2. And last deep breath right here. Inhale, exhale, breathe. From here, we're gonna go into your classical abdominal warm-up, which is called the series of 5. I like to flip my headrest up for this. You're more than welcome to do the same. And I like to take my foot bar down. So I'm gonna sit myself up just for a moment, take my foot bar all the way down. I like to have that full range of motion through my legs when I do this. It's not a necessity. You can always leave the foot bar up if you want to limit that range. And then I'll lay myself all the way back down on my back. I really want to line up my shoulders, but I do want a good inch from my shoulders to my shoulder blocks. And then I'm going to shift my legs into a nice tabletop position. Tabletop is knees are directly above the hips, and I could balance a cup of tea on your shins. Arms come straight up towards the ceiling, fingertips I should say, yet shoulder blades hook down. We're going to start this with 5 chest lifts up. If you've got some neck stuff going on, you can always take your hands behind your head to support your neck. Take an inhale here, sip of air. On your exhale, chest lift up for 5. Inhale, resisting back down. Exhale, lift, there's 4. And inhaling back, bringing it up for 3. Sinking your abs down as you come into your chest lift. Resist, sink and lift for 2. And inhaling, lift to hold. Chest lift up to pause. Hands can stay down by your side. They can come behind the head, or classically, we're going to extend the left leg out and you would take your hands on top of your right shin. From here, we're going to exchange your legs 8 times. Let's switch. There's 8. Think about placing your foot out there for 7. As you place your leg out, sink your abdominals down for 6. Curling up a little bit higher, 5. In a perfect world, your shoulder blades would be up and off the mat. There's 4. Breathe for 3. Starting to get warm in here. Take 2. And last 1. Pull both legs into tabletop. Curl up a little bit higher. Once again, hands behind your head if you have got some neck stuff going on. Or classically, arms and legs reach away in opposition. We circle our arms around as our legs come back to tabletop. They can come slightly further in than tabletop, but don't lose your neutral pelvis. Reach and circle for 7. Length, breathe 6. Think about pelvic floor as you fully extend the arms and legs, and there's 5. Reach, exhale for 4. In a perfect world, you curl up so high your shoulder blades would not be touching the mat for 3. The world is not perfect, but that's your goal. Take 2. Stretch, breathe, last 1. Extend those legs straight up towards the ceiling. If you have a bend in your knee because of hamstring limitations, just keep it consistent. Don't let it extend or bend any deeper. Hands come behind your head to support your neck. If you've got some neck stuff going on, you can let your head rest holding onto your silver pegs. You're going to inhale, lower your legs down, lightly touching the foot bar, and lift them back up 8 times. 8. Lowering down and lift for 7. Hands can also come down by your sides if that feels better for your body for 6. Sometimes having my hands behind my head can make it a little bit more necky for 5, just personally. Inhaling, exhale, lift, there's 4. This is when I'm like, why did I wear long sleeves? Breathe for 3. Lower, you can also do this and turn out if it's bothering your hip flexors for 2. Lower, lift and hold. Grab behind your right calf. Lower your left leg down. Single leg stretch. You're gonna pull, or hamstring pull 1, single leg stretch. There's a whole bunch of names for the exercises. You're gonna pulse the right leg in towards you twice. Go exhale, exhale. Exchange the legs, grab the left leg. Right leg is lightly touching the foot bar. Pulse it in twice. Exhale, exhale. Back to the right for 6. To the left for 5. Breathe 4. To the right for 3. Sorry, to the right for 2. Exhale, exhale. I'm off on my counting. To the left, last one. Exhale, exhale. Now pause right there. We're going to add rotation and go for hamstring pull 3. Hands will come behind the head and you're going to twist towards the leg that's up. Now on your exhale, switch legs, switch rotations. There's 8. Up and over 7. Then top elbow up towards the ceiling, bottom elbow behind you for 6. 5. Take 4. 3. Breathe for 2. And last 1. Hug your knees in. Whew. Roll around on your low back. Glad that's over with. Always love to do it, always glad it's done. Give yourself a little happy baby, take a breath or 2. If you did take your foot bar down, we do have to sit up and pop your foot bar back into place. So let's go ahead and do that now. Ooh, find your balance. I'm working on a balance body classic studio reformer with the Revo foot bar. So I push my slide locks in so my foot bar is nicely locked in. I know we're all working on different equipment. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below and I promise to answer them. We're gonna take the heel of your foot now nice and wide onto the foot bar. We're gonna turn our knees out to the sides. With our heels on, we wanna think about where our toes are in space. We call this footwork and not leg work because we're stabilizing our feet. So as you press the machine open with wide heels, shoulders are lined up, hips are lined up, it's almost gonna feel like you point your toes to keep them perfectly stable. And then as you bend your knees, it's gonna feel like you flex your feet because you're flexing at your ankles. Once again, to keep the toes perfectly stable. Let's do that 7 more times. Press 7. Pelvis is in neutral, resisting in, spine is in neutral. Length for 6. Bending back. Pushing from the seat of the pants. There's 5. Think underbutt and pelvic floor. Quads and hamstrings are going to get some work for 3. And if you're truly stabilizing your toes, you get a lot of good calf work and ankle work and footwork there for 2. Bending in. Last one right here. Press. Bring it halfway in and pause. We're gonna go for your pulses. Let's pulse it down for 8, 7, think under butts and pelvic floor for 6, 5, take 4, chest is proud, chin is up for 3, 2, and press all the way out to wash it out. Hello, inner thighs. Bend your knees, resist, come all the way in. Now keep your feet wide, just drop down onto your toes. Heels are now what we are stabilizing. So as you press the machine open, it's gonna feel like you point your toes to keep the heels exactly where they are in space. And as you bend your knees, it's gonna feel like you flex at your foot to keep the heel steady in space. Let's take it out for 7. Pulling the machine in. Press for 6. Is your pelvis still in neutral? You can always double check by taking your hands onto your pelvis. Reach for 5. Bending back, taking it out for 4, resisting in. The dog is very close to the microphone. Let's hope he doesn't knock it over for 3. Pull the machine in towards the stopper. Last 2. Bending back, pressing out, last 1. Once again, halfway in and pause. Tailbone's heavy, chest is proud. Pulse it down at 8, 7. Breathe 6. Try to make this tiny movement as challenging as you can. 4, 3, 2, and press all the way straight to wash it out. Bend your knees and come all the way in. Our last set of footwork, prehensile. So our arches are going to come onto the foot bar. Classically, East Coast style, you'd squeeze your knees and feet together. I'm more a fan of the West Coast. We are in LA. So we're going to separate your feet 2 to 3 inches apart, so your sits bones distance parallel, and your arches are on the foot bar. Prehensile, we always set up on the out, so once you have your arches on, you're going to push the machine all the way open and pause. You do not want to drop down onto the ball of your feet or your toes, but you want to lower your heels down as low as you can and then knuckle your toes around. Our goal here is to grip onto the foot bar like a birdie on a perch, sloth in a tree, chameleon on a branch, whatever works for you. As we bend our knees in, our heels have to lift up a little bit. It's just structurally how we're built, but our goal is to keep our heels as low as possible. So I'm going to bend my knees in. I'm going to focus on keeping my heels low and knuckling my toes around, and then I'll push the machine right back out, and we've got 7 more to go. Resisting in. Press there, 7. Resist. Once again, you do want those inner thighs working here for 6. Inner thigh is also known as the VMO or the vascus medialis oblique for 5. Bending in, taking it out. There's 4. Once again, is your pelvis still in neutral? Chest proud, back of the neck is long, yet chin is up. 3 more. Press for 3. You could blow through this, make it really easy, just get it over with, or you can challenge yourself to make this work as challenging as you possibly can for 2. Last one right here, press, bring it halfway in, and a little pulse down for 8, little pulse 7, breathe for 6, 5, 4, pulse 3, 2, and last one, take it all the way out to straight legs. Bend your knees, come all the way into the stopper and pause. Take a deep exhale. We're gonna go into spine twist supine. So scoot away from the shoulder blocks, just a half an inch or so. Reach your hands around and hold on to your silver pegs. Bring your legs into a true tabletop and squeeze those knees together. Pretend like I've super glued your knees together so they can't slide around on one another at all. And shoulder blades are locked down to the mat. We're gonna twist our legs to the right, keeping our left shoulder blade connected to the mat, opening up our lumbar spine, getting a little rotation. Big exhale, pull those legs back to center. Twist the legs to the left, keeping the right shoulder blade down. Our right hip does come off when we twist. And exhale, center, and our knees are still perfectly locked together. Let's take it to the right for 6. And exhale, center. To the left for 5, twist. And breathe. To the right for 4. And exhale to the left for 3, rotate. Exhale, coming back to center. To the right for 2, twist. Exhale, breathing, and to the left, last one. Opening up. Exhale, come back to center and hold. Let the feet rest down. Let your hands go. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. And we're going to go ahead, get you up and off of your backs here. And we're going to stretch out your hips and your hamstrings. So we're going to do your kneeling hip flexor stretch today. I like to do this stretch on one green spring. That is about equivalent to a red and a yellow. You can do this on one red spring. Just be careful that your foot doesn't slip off the foot bar. I'm also like to do this with knee pads because I am going to be balancing on one knee or just have one knee down at a time. So I recommend grabbing a little bit of a knee pad if you have sensitive knees. I will then kneel up on my machine facing your foot bar. I'm going to start with my left leg. You're more than welcome to start with your right, just it'll be cued completely backwards, so keep that in mind. My hands are going to come down to the opposite ends of my foot bar, and I'm going to bring my left ball of my foot kind of right on top. It's in line with my hip, so I haven't crossed it over the midline of the foot bar, and it's not way out to the side. When you're ready, go ahead, push the left leg out as straight as you can get it. If you can't get that leg all the way straight, I totally understand, tight hamstrings. Just do your best. But our next step here is to square off our pelvis. So I'm going to swing my right hip forward, drop my left hip down and back, and you go, ooh, that just increased the stretch. From here, we're just gonna hold and breathe. To increase the stretch through the hamstring even deeper, you can push the machine out further. To get more stretch through your hip, you're gonna pull the machine in towards the stopper. I like to kind of split the difference, find that nice spot right in between, and we've got about 2 more deep breaths right here. If your leg is straight, you can practice pushing your heel underneath the foot bar. And inhaling, exhale, breathe, last one. Swing that right hip a little bit farther forward for that last little bit of the stretch. And then bend your left knee, come all the way into the stopper. Push your pelvis as far forward as you can. Reach your right arm out to the side and side stretch up and over to the left. Right now we're stretching out your right hip flexor. Could possibly be a little bit in the TFL and IT band and low oblique depending on your body and where you have tightness. And let's take 3 more deep breaths right here. Breathe for 3. Inhale, exhale, breathe, there's 2. And breathe, last 1. Replace your right hand down, take your left foot back so your toe is tucked under against the shoulder block. Bring your right foot up and onto that foot bar. Once again, the right foot is in line with the hip or with its hip socket. It's not in the center of the foot bar and it's not way out to the side. When ready, push that right leg out as straight as you can get it. You can drop that heel underneath the foot bar. We're gonna hang out here for a moment. The further out you push the machine, the more of the hamstring stretch. The further in you pull the machine, the more the hip stretch, or you can find the position that works good for you. Don't forget to square off your pelvis. So swing that left hip bone forward, drop that right glute down and back. And it really does increase the stretch. We also want to, and it depends on body proportions, you want to try to elongate your spine as much as you can in this position. If you just go for computer posture, you lose a little bit of the stretch. And take another deep inhale here.
and exhale. And we're gonna bend the right knee, come all the way into the stopper. Push your pelvis as far forward as you can, lift up through the heart, reach that left arm out to the side, and side stretch up and over to the right, opening up the front of your right hip. Ooh, hip flexor. A little bit of low oblique on this side for me. I don't feel much IT band, but I know a lot of people do. TFL. Take 2 more deep breaths. Inhale and exhale, breathe for 2. Inhale, exhale, breathe, last 1. And we will replace that left hand back down. Take your right foot off. And I'm gonna go ahead and 86 high knee pads because we're done with them for right now. You can always keep them if you have more sensitive knees. We're gonna get into side kneeling arm work here. I do this work on a blue, which is the medium strength. If you have some shoulder or neck stuff going on, I highly recommend a yellow or even doing it with just a hand weight. So I'm gonna switch out my green for a blue. If you can do this on a red, my hat is off to you. So let's go ahead, kneel up nice and tall, right in the center of the machine. Now I'm facing the camera, which means my right shoulder is towards my risers and my left shoulder is towards my foot bar. I will then grab for the little loop in my right hand. I'm gonna set up my neutral spine, neutral pelvis, so I'm gonna drop my tailbone down, lift up through my heart, engage my core, and then I'm gonna pull my fingertips together right in front of my heart. You're gonna inhale, open those arms out to the side. I have a slight softness to the elbow, and exhale, hug a tree for 8. If you are familiar with dance terms, we're going first to second position with our arms for 7. Inhaling and exhale, breathe. There's 6. Make this all about the core. Use your obliques and pelvic floor to stabilize for 5. We have 4 more right here. Are your shoulder blades pulling down? If this is going into your neck, drop your hands down a little bit lower for 3. Make it more French. If you take ballet classes, you understand that. Take it for 2. Inhale, opening, and exhale, close and clasp those hands together. From here, we're gonna rotate. So your hands are gonna follow your core. I'm gonna twist to the left, rotate, and then inhale, bringing it back around. In a perfect world, our pelvis doesn't move at all. There's 7. And bringing it back around. Rotate for 6. And twist. Breathe for 5. 4 more right here. There's 4. Shoulder blades are hooking down. Once again, you can drop the hands down to make it a little less necky if it's going there for 3. Hopefully you're feeling a lot of work in those lats right now as well for 2 to stabilize. And last one, twist, bringing it back around. I like to choke down to my long loop for this next one. The short loop's a little heavy for me. I'm gonna take my hands right by my ears. Shoulder blades pull down. Pretend like you're reaching through the pinky side of your hand and sliding your arms up walls. You're gonna press those arms straight up for 8, resisting back down with control. Once again, shoulder blades hook down to press the arms up for 7. Abs are strong, back of the neck is long for 6. Chest is proud, pelvic floor for 5. Whew. 4 more. Breathe for 3. Getting a little tremor of truth going in my right deltoid for 2. Last one right here. Press, bringing it all the way back down. Let's grab for the long loop in your opposite hand. Your right hand just comes down by your side body. Pulling sword. This exercise was so much fun when Game of Thrones was on. You're gonna lead with your elbow. Notice the back of my hand is facing you right now. On the apex of the move, the front of my hand will be facing you. So make sure you get that little rotation in. I'm gonna lead with the elbow. It's gonna hook around my thumb and I press for 8. And bringing it back around. Shoulder blades hook down, there's 7. The strap kind of grabs you a little bit, but don't worry about it. There's 6. Once again, when you're doing this, pull down with your left lat for 5. So it doesn't go into your neck. You want to ground the movement down for 4. Also, your body shouldn't be moving at all. It's just the arm that's moving for 3. A lot of times you try to get a little twist involved with the chest. We don't want to do that for 2. Last one right here. And press, bringing it all the way back around. Time for those triceps. I now go back down onto my short loop. So I'm gonna grab for the little loop and I'm gonna walk my knees towards my foot bar, one big step. There we go. My right hand now comes onto the edge of my shoulder block, headrest. That would be a stretch. Push your pelvis as far forward as you can. Take the back of your hand to your forehead and point your elbows straight up towards your ceiling. You get a lovely side body stretch here. Don't drop your elbow. Keep it pointing up as you extend the arm out for 8 and bring it back. Press 7. There's 6. If the strap is hitting you in the head, it means you're dropping your humerus towards the foot bar for 5. Try to keep it perpendicular with the ground for 4. Breathe for 3. Whew. Hello, tricep. Press 2. And last one right here. And let's replace that strap all the way down onto the peg. We're gonna shift right into Mermaid facing the same direction. So I'm gonna sit down, taking my right shin up against the shoulder blocks. My left shin's gonna line up with the wood frame. My left hand's gonna come onto the foot bar. My right palm faces the ceiling. Your goal in the first section of this is to keep your right hip connected or your right glute down. If it lifts up, you lose the stretch. Let's take an inhale here. Also, you are on one blue spring, so if you are on a yellow or a red, switch it out for that blue. Let's press and stretch up and over, keeping that right hip down. There's 8, and bringing it back. Press, stretch up and over for 7. Oof, so good, opening up that side. Breathe for 6, reach, and resisting back. Taking it out for 5, and bringing it in. 4 more right here. Press, stretch up and over for 4, resisting back. Press, there's 3. Nice lateral stretch through our spine. Taking it up and over for 2. Resisting, and now press, stretch, and hold. This is our actual mermaid. From here, your right hip will have to lift up as you twist your heart to face the ground, walking your hands as wide as you can go onto the foot bar. From here, push the machine open as far as you can, lowering your heart down towards the ground. You should be getting a nice rotational stretch through the left side of your spine or your left multifidi. Shoulder blades hook down. Here's your actual mermaid. You're gonna lift up through the spine as you let the carriage come in towards the stopper. Chest is proud, back of the neck is long. As you come all the way in, most people will feel a stretch going through their upper left hip flexor, kind of coming up through the left core, and press all the way back out, reaching away. I like to kind of roll through my spine to come up. That feels good on my body, but you do you, whatever works. Lift. And lengthening out. We've got 6 more to go. Lift up and forward. There's 6. Pressing the machine back out. Lifting up and forward for 5. Lengthening away. Taking it up. There's 4. Pressing the machine open. Breathe for 3. Feels so good on the spine. Pressing out. Last 2. Reaching away. And lift up and forward. Last 1. Press all the way back out to hold. Walk your left hand back towards the center of the foot bar. Release that right hand, get that right hip down. Carefully let the machine come all the way in. You can do one of 3 things. You can grab onto the forward shoulder block or peg, or you can press your right hand against the headrest as you side stretch up and over to the right, opening up the left side, and breathe right there for 4. Breathe for 3. Take 2. And last 1. Whew. Bring yourself all the way up. We now have to do your arm work facing the opposite direction, and then we'll go into Mermaid after that. Once again, I did my arm work on one blue, so I'm leaving my spring exactly where it is. If you need to switch it back out, by all means go for that now. I'm gonna bring myself up, spin around so I'm facing my pirate painting. I will then make sure I'm lined up on my machine. So I was right in the center of my machine when I was facing the opposite way. I will then find my neutral pelvis, neutral spine, and then, well, grab for my strap and then find my neutral pelvis, neutral spine. So from here, we're gonna start with your huggetry. I'm going with that little loop to start. I'll pull my fingertips together right in front of my heart. Inhale, opening my arms out, and exhale, close for 8. Resisting open. And breathe for 7. Inhaling, and exhale, take it for 6. Opening out and breathe. There's 5. Shoulder blades are hooking down, back of the neck is long for 4. We have 3 more right here. There's 3. Resist, take 2. And close and clasp your hands together. We're gonna rotate, so let's twist to the right. Try to keep your pelvis steady. Arms are just moving with the spine. And rotate for 6, twist. A lot of times I will see people and they're rotating their arms, but their chest isn't moving. Take it for 5. Think about it. The arms are just an extension of the spinal rotation for 4. Let's breathe for 3 more. There's 3. Inhaling. Take it for 2. And bringing it back around. Twist, last one. Rotate. Bringing it back around. Now at this point, I go down to my long loop. You can keep it on the short loop if you'd like. Hands are gonna come right by your ears. Shoulder blades pull down. Now think about really reaching through the pinky side of your hand as you pull down on your shoulder blade. So press for 8. Resisting back. Press 7. Breathe for 6. Length 5. Abs to spine, shoulder blades hook down for 4. Here's 3. Ooh, lifting up and out of that left side for 2. Really using those obliques to do so. And last one, bringing it all the way down, pulling sword. So I'll grab for the long loop, and now my right hand, my left hand comes down by my side. Remember the rotation of the palm. So right now the back of my hand is facing my pirate painting, and when I'm at the apex, the palm of my hand will be facing the pirate painting. I lead with the elbow, it hooks around my thumb, and I press for 8, resisting all the way back. My chest never moves, it's only the arm moving for 7, bringing it back. Now just like a sword, you can give it a little flare on the way out for 6, but a lot of precision as you put it back into the sheath. Here's 5, resisting back. Take it for 4. 3 more right here, press for 3. Take 2. Last one right here, press, and resisting all the way back. We're gonna then flip your hand in the strap for your tricep work. I like to go back down to my short loop, and we're gonna take your knees one big step towards that foot bar. Push your pelvis as far forward as you can. Point that elbow straight up towards the ceiling. Abs carve up and in. You get a lovely side body stretch here. Press the arms straight out for 8, resisting back. If the strap is hitting you in your head, you're dropping your elbow towards the foot bar for 7. Try to keep the humerus, the upper part of the arm, perpendicular with the ground for 6. 5. So the only thing that really should be moving on your body is the forearm through the wrist for 4. Also, don't break at the wrist. Keep it nice and long for 3. Oh, the side body stretch is amazing. Take 2. Last one right here. Press. Bring it all the way back. Finish off the movement. Replace it onto the pegs. And we're going to take it right into your mermaid. So I'm going to sit on my bum, taking my left shin up against my shoulder blocks. My right shin lines up with the wood frame. Bring it to a blue spring if you did switch it out for your arm work, so come back to that blue. Right hand is going to be on the foot bar. Left palm faces the ceiling. Keep the left glute connected to the mat. If it lifts up, you've lost the stretch. And it's all about the stretch in the first 8. So let's press up and over for your lateral stretch. There's 8. Resist, pull the machine back in towards the stopper. Press stretch up and over for 7. Take a little inventory on your body. Are you tighter on the side, looser on the side? Take it for 6. Was arm work more challenging on one side versus the other? I'm always trying to figure out, how do I create more balance in my body? There's 5. 4 more lateral stretches. Pressing up and over for 4. Bringing it back. Taking it for 3. Resisting in. 2 more. Reach for 2. Ooh, that feels so nice. And bring it back. Last one. Twisting up and over. Reach. Now rotate your chest to face the ground. Walk your hands as wide as they can go onto the foot bar. Push the machine open as far as you can. And here comes your actual mermaid. We're stretching out your left multifidi here, so the cable that runs up along the left side of your spine. You're gonna lift your heart up and forward. I like to do a little body roll as I come up and forward. Lift and press all the way back out. So I almost feel like I tuck my pelvis a little bit, or I round through my spine, through flexion, and then I take it into extension. The last like 40% of the movement. I'm pressing back out. 6 more to go. Lift it up and forward. There's 6. Pressing the machine all the way back out. Lifting up and forward for 5. Whew. Reaching away. Let's take 4 more. There's 4. Pressing out. Roll through that spine because it should feel delicious for 3. Lengthening away. 2 more right here, up and forward for 2. Reaching out and up and forward, last one. Pressing all the way away. Walk your right hand to the center, release that left hand. Get that left glute back down, turning to face your wall or whatever direction you are in your homes. That nice lateral stretch, and let the machine come all the way in. Now once again, you can grab onto your forward shoulder block or peg, or you can press your hand against the headrest as we side stretch now up and over to the left, and breathe right there for 4. Breathe for 3. Take 2, and last one, and then carefully come all the way in. I'm gonna have you look down into your spring wall. We're gonna get into your hip work next. So legs and straps, hip work. I like to call it happy strap time. I like to do this on 2 red springs. So I'm gonna switch out my blue. And with your springs, you always wanna add before you subtract. So I'm gonna add on my 2 reds. I'm gonna 86 my blue. You can do this on a red and a blue as well if that feels better for your body. Headrest can be up or down. Make sure your straps are even length. Sometimes they come off when we do single strap work like we did with our arms today. And mine are lined up, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and lay all the way down on your spine. Once again, 2 red springs or a red and a blue. If you do have a red and a blue on, or 2 springs on, you wanna make sure they're as far away from one another as possible. You don't wanna load up one side of the carriage. Never a good thing. As you lay down, line up your shoulders, line up your hips. You're gonna grab for those straps that are right by your ears. I use my long loops for my feet, and I'm gonna get my feet strapped up. Press the legs all the way up to straight. Tailbone's gonna be heavy. This is all about a neutral spine, neutral pelvis. Press the legs down towards the earth. Bring them straight up towards the ceiling. Once again, spine and pelvis should not have moved at all. Pressing down for 7. And resisting up. Press and reach there, 6. Think about it's just the femur bone moving around in that hip socket. Everything else is nice and stable for 5. Bringing it up. Take 4 more, there's 4. Resisting up. Last 3. You can do this in turnout. I like it in parallel, just personally for 2, your choice. And then press about 3/4 the way down and hold. Now we are gonna rotate our toes out and our heels together because we're gonna go for frog. I'm gonna bend my knees in, keeping my heels kissed together. Squeeze my glutes and press my legs out to straight.
I like to do this little foot flare. So as I bend my knees in, I pull my toes back so my feet are in dorsal flexion. And then as I press all the way out, I point my toes into plantar flexion. Bending in, lengthening out. Let's go for 5 more. Bending in, press for 5, resisting in, keeping those heels locked together, reach 4. I had a teacher once put a quarter in between my heels when we did this, when we were learning it. We weren't supposed to lose the quarter. For 3, bend. Ooh. Oh, I just lost my quarter. 2, my bad. Bending in, press and hold. Once again, you can keep this all in external rotation. I like to go back to parallel. We're gonna press the legs down, circle the legs out to the side and up towards the ceiling. Lengthening out. Once again, pelvis never moves. It's just the femur bone stirring around in the hip socket, and bring it back up. Whenever I do leg circles, I keep my hands on my pelvis just so I have my own tactile cue to make sure that it's nice and steady. We've got 3 more, pressing down, circling around and up for 3. I always do things in series of 8. It's just my number, my habit. Take it for 2. So if your counting is off than mine, make sure you do about 8. Pressing down, circling around, holding all the way up there. From here, we're going to reverse. So let's open the legs out to the side, bring it down and around. Doesn't matter how far I move my machine away from the faux fireplace, my toe always hits it. And there's 4. Up. Open and breathe for 3. Fun fact, I used to have a real fireplace until the 93 Northridge earthquake. I was not living here at the time. For 2. And then they bricked it over because the chimneys fell down. And we have what we should do, 2 more. Up, open, circle for 2. And up, open, circle, last one. Okay, short spine and long spine, love them. We're gonna go ahead and flip your headrest down flat. You have to have a flat headrest to do anything where your pelvis comes above your rib cage when you are on your back or in a supine position. So we're gonna go for long spine first. If you haven't done this, watch and then jump in. So long spine is all about levitation and carriage stability. My legs are nice and parallel. I'm reaching out and I'm gonna I'm gonna fold at my hip and bring my legs straight up towards the ceiling. I'm looking for a right angle at my hip joint. Now, if you have to lose neutral pelvis to get to a right angle, that's totally fine, but I do need your legs and your body perpendicular with one another. Take an inhale here, and then on your exhale, without letting the carriage move, I take my fingers to the frame just to make sure it's steady. I tuck my pelvis and I articulate my hips all the way up towards the ceiling. There's your levitation. Once I get up to the top, I'm going to separate my feet just a few inches, and I'm going to roll back down my spine, 1 vertebrae at a time. Once again, carriage should not be moving. Say hello to your glutes. That's what's stabilizing you here. Once you come back to as neutral as you can get it, you'll separate the legs, circle around like you're doing a leg circle, and we're gonna go for 2 more. Bring your legs straight up towards the ceiling and you pause. Once again, the pause is important because it's all about a carriage that doesn't move, carriage stability. Tuck the pelvis, articulate your hips up towards the ceiling, 1 vertebrae at a time. Hold up at the top, separate the legs a few inches, and roll your hips all the way back down. Widen the collarbone. You're going to be tempted to roll your shoulders forward as you come down. Try not to let that happen. Tailbone comes down, open the legs up, circle around. Last one, bring the legs straight up towards the ceiling and pause without letting the carriage move. Tuck the pelvis, squeeze the glutes, lift those hips all the way up to levitation. Now you can take your legs a little bit wider. The wider you go, the more challenging it's going to be. So mine are about the width of my carriage, and I'm going to roll back down. Just going to get more glute and oblique work that way. 1 vertebrae at a time. Tailbone comes down, circle the legs around. Short spine, the biggest difference is we are externally rotated from your hip socket. So turn those toes out, kiss those heels together, hands come down by our side body. Okay, we start this with a hamstring stretch. I've got pretty tight legs because I do a lot of biking, so I'm gonna fold my body in half. Your goal is to keep your tailbone down until you find the stopper. And I didn't make my goal. So there's my stopper. My hips are up a little bit. Now without letting the carriage move, I'm gonna start to roll my hips up towards the ceiling. Now I've got tension in my straps, but no pressure. From here, I bend my knees down by my ears and my feet are directly above my face. My goal is to keep my feet directly above my face as I articulate my spine back down towards the mat, which means I open up my knee joint. When I can't take that anymore, which is about there for me, I bend at my knees, I drop my heels towards my bum, and I press through frog and I extend out and we start all over again. Once again, go for your hamstring stretch. Fold your body in half. Keep your tailbone down for as long as you can. Once you hit that stopper, you're gonna lift your hips up and off. Inhale, bend your knees down by your ears. My feet are directly above my face, and I am in turnout so I can see my feet. A lot of times people will try to squeeze the knees together. Roll down the spine, keeping your feet above your face for as long as you can. Eventually pulling your heels towards your bottom, press to extend out. One more to go. It feels so good. The strap's gonna slide around on your feet a little bit here. Just keep your toes pointed and they won't come off. Fold your body in half, point those toes so you don't lose your straps. Because they kind of slide up towards the ball of your foot a little bit as you fold in half. Exhale, lift. Inhale, bend. And exhale, roll it down the spine. One vertebrae at a time. My feet are above my face still. And then I drop my heels towards my bottom. I press through and I extend out. And it's time for some lovely stretches. So bring your legs straight up towards the ceiling. You can pull down on your black straps. Give yourself a hamstring stretch, a straddle stretch, a happy baby, a butterfly stretch, whatever feels good for your body. Take about 5 deep breaths, just letting go. I want to thank you guys for showing up to reformer class today. I really appreciate that you made it. I love this work. Please subscribe so I can keep making these videos. I've been teaching this for about 10 years and it is an absolute passion of mine. So I appreciate you taking this class. If you have any questions or would like to see any exercises in particular, please leave a comment below and I promise I'll get to them. Have a lovely day. And once again, thank you for being here. Goodbye.